Hello guys, today I'm back again and I want us to look at development of computers. It's still a topic in Form 1. I've decided we do Form 1 up to the end. So, development of computers. The objective is by the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to explain how computers have developed. Development of computers is divided into two major parts, i.e. the first one, mechanical computers, B, electronic computers. Mechanical computers, we start with that one. These are the ancient computing tools that were used before invention of electronic computers. Before computers were invented, there is what people are using. In fact, even before these mechanical computers were invented, people were using sticks, stones, pebbles, even their fingers to do to compute things or to calculate things. We use mnemonic ANSPA, A-N-S-P-A, to remember this. A standing for abacus. Abacus was invented or discovered in 300 BC to 500 BC. It was discovered or invented by ancient Babylonian, and this Babylonian is not very clear who it is, but the purpose of abacus was for counting, that is addition and subtraction. Napier bones, discovered in 1617. Then it was discovered by John Napier. In fact, it is named after John Napier. That's why it is called Napier bones. The purpose is calculation of products and quotient. When I talk about product, I am talking about multiplication, and quotient is division. It was only for those two purposes, multiplication and division. Then later, a slide rule was invented, and it was invented in 17th century by Reverend William Oughtred. The purpose for slide rule was multiplication, division, finding the roots, the exponential, logarithm, trigonometry. It had quite a lot. The next one was Pascaline machine, which was invented in 1644 to 1642. Pascaline machine was invented in 1642 to 1644. This was invented by a scientist and a mathematician by the name Blaise Pascal at the age of 19 years. Pascaline machine was used for addition and subtraction. Analytical engine was discovered in 1837 by Charles Babbage, and its main purpose was for arithmetic processing. And this is where now we shall see the coming of electronic computers. So B, electronic computers. And before I move to the electronic computers, it is worth noting that the design for analytical engine was the one that was implemented on the modern electronic computers. Therefore, the inventor Charles Babbage is regarded as the father of modern computers. B, let me go now to B, electronic computers. There are 5 major generations of modern electronic computers depending on the gradual development in the computer technology. We'll start with the first generation. In the first generation, it started from 1940 to 1950, and they used vacuum tubes, or what we call the Munich valves. Later I shall show you what is a vacuum tube. I shall show you what is a transistor in form of a picture for a better understanding. So first generation characteristics was they consumed a lot of power, they emitted a lot of heat, they constantly broke down, they were slow, they had little memory, and maybe I can also add that they were big, they were enormous, they were very big. Second generation started from 1950 to 1960s. The technology used was transistor. Characteristics of second generation: consumed less power than the first generation, emitted lesser heat than the first generation. Transistors were smaller in size than vacuum tubes. My viewer, dear viewer, when you look at the comparison of the second generation to the first generation, we are comparing the second with the first. Consumed less power than first generation, emitted lesser heat than first generation. So it's worth noting that, so that as you give the characteristics, it will be easy for us. That generation started in 1960 to 1970. The technology used was integrated circuits. Characteristics of that generation: consumed less heat and emitted less heat than second generation. They were smaller in size than the second generation. They were easier to program and maintain than second generation. So this is what I was telling you, that at the second and third generation, we try to compare with the previous generation. Fourth generation, it started in 1970 to 1990, and the technology used is very large scale integrated circuits, or what we call microprocessor. Low characteristics: low emission of heat, they are small in size, easier to use and maintain. Then you go to the fifth generation, 1990 up to the present. The technology used artificial intelligence. Characteristics: instead of binary, they use quantum bits. Instead of binary, they use quantum bits to process data. Dear viewer, these are the images of the photos of vacuum tubes, and if you look at the first one, vacuum tube, look at the way they look like it's like a glass, and inside it's a vacuum. Yeah. The second one, transistors. Transistors had an emitter. I've tried to put it in a better way. A transistor, it has some pins, some kind of pins. The first pin is for emission. That's why I'm calling it an emitter. The second one is a base, and the third one is a collector. Then you have the integrated circuits. Integrated circuits is a number of very many transistors put together to come up to create an integrated circuit. The fourth one, very large scale integrated circuits, or microprocessor. Now a microprocessor is full of so many transistors put together, so many, actually millions of them, but they are put together to create a one thing, that is a microprocessor. Then lastly, we have what you're calling the artificial intelligence. It is the ability to program machines to think or act like human beings. Dear viewer, this is the end of development of computers lesson. Our next lesson will be on areas where computers are used. Please, urging you to kindly subscribe and like my videos. And subscription means, actually subscription means that you've liked that account. It does not, when you subscribe, many people fear because they think that they'll subscribe and then some of their cash will be taken away. Nothing like that. When you subscribe, it means that you would like to see more of what you have just seen. Have a blessed day. Thank you.